When I try and do everything at once, no one thing gets enough of my time and attention. Hello gorgeous humans, hope you're all doing well today. My name is Praise Ara and this video is going to be on what happens after the mindset work, especially as it pertains to achieving goals and doing and being everything you've wanted to be. If you like what you're about to hear, go ahead and subscribe, give the video a thumbs up and have fun with the buttons down below, and let's get into it. This year, 2022, I made a really conscious decision to start really working on my mindset and addressing limiting core beliefs that I had about myself, because I'd had enough of being held back by them and not being able to follow through with things because I didn't believe I deserved the outcomes that I wanted. I really got to a point where I'm believing now that I'm good enough, I deserve the outcomes that I want, and so on. And I thought, yeah, no, I've done it, I've cracked it, I've done all the things now. However, what I'm realizing now, and this may seem so obvious to people who never struggled in this department, is that just because I believe I can does not mean I immediately automatically just will. In the very long space of time that I did not believe in myself and wasn't showing up for myself consistently, there are essentially habits that I've developed and built. So I'm looking at my life currently and I'm seeing so much more potential, really believing in myself, but I feel as though I'm being held back by the systems that I have in place currently, or the lack of an adequate system essentially. So between now and the end of this year, and it's obviously a continuing journey, I want to focus on building systems that will drive me towards success. And so here are some of the things I'm going to be doing in order to essentially make sure that I hit the goals that I want to hit. Up until now, I've not had like a real sense of structure as it pertains to some of those goals, and I've just been sort of following the moments where I feel inspired or motivated, which is good. It's good to do things when you feel inspired to do them, but also if I have certain goals that I want to reach, I have to start implementing discipline and start implementing systems that will allow me in the best way possible to do those things. Motivation cannot be my only driving force. So the first thing I'll be doing is the 12-week year, and there's a book on this. There's a book literally called The 12-Week Year, but this is actually inspired by another YouTuber, Montel B. She made a video earlier on this year about basically using that to push towards her goals in a more focused way, and I really liked the idea. She also created a Notion template that goes with it, which is actually really good. I actually tried it earlier in the year, but because I wasn't being disciplined with myself, I actually ended up sort of falling off. But as I'm looking to focus on being disciplined and on really holding myself accountable, I feel like it's going to be a really useful tool. And what I'll be doing is just focusing on 3 goals and pushing towards those and having actionable steps that I take each week or each day, depending. In that, what I'll be doing as well is I'll be focusing on goals that I can completely control. So rather than focusing on outcomes, I'm going to focus on, let's say, the frequency with which I do certain things, just because I know for me, I work really well with having goals that I can completely control rather than having goals that have variables that are outside of my control. So that's how I'm going to be using that. I'm going to set myself 3 goals, and I'll probably do a video at a later date showing you guys what those goals are, and just keeping you guys posted on how it all goes. The next thing I'll be doing is creating a daily routine for myself that has a little bit of wiggle room, and also has a little bit of time for breaks in between tasks. The mistake that I've made typically is that I create daily routines and from start to end they go from one thing to the next to the next to the next to the next, and with certain things that's absolutely fine. However, for things that I have to think quite hard about or involve a lot of brain work, it is worth having a little bit of room for me to mentally switch between tasks so that I don't find myself getting overwhelmed. So I'll essentially be creating a daily routine that works for my brain. In that, there will also be prep time scheduled, just so that I know that I have room for that and I don't have to worry about fitting preparation time in. And it will also involve some downtime because I work a 9-to-5 job, well 9 to 6 at the minute. I need to ensure that I have enough downtime that I can take myself off of work mode to passion mode or to other work mode but not too much downtime that I completely am just like, yeah, the only thing I'm good for is bed now. The next thing I'll be doing is making sure that I am prepared for the tasks ahead of time. One thing that I've realized takes up so much of my time and often saps a lot of my motivation is not being prepared. So where it comes to, for example, sitting down to film YouTube videos, it's making sure that I have those videos planned out in advance rather than needing to quickly sort things out at the time of filming. Also, meal prepping and making sure that I have like food sorted for the days that I know are going to be a little bit busier in the evening time. So I'll just be making sure that for whatever I need to do, I am prepared. If it's a case of making sure that my space is clear the night before, or an outfit is ready the night before, whatever I can do to ensure that I'm prepared for the task ahead, that essentially means for me that going into that task, I don't have to think as much and I waste less time. Additionally, at the start of the day, I'm gonna start time blocking. Grace Beverley detailed a really cool way to prioritize items on a to-do list, and it is quick ticks, tasks, and projects, and then you write out your schedule. But the quick ticks are the things that you can get done in 5 minutes. The tasks are the things that take 5 to 30 minutes, and then the projects are the things that take longer. And I'll be using that to plan out my day in a bid to essentially figure out what's really quick to do that I can get done in 5 minutes, what might take a little bit longer, and what really needs like a dedicated hour or more. And this will help me not to fall into the trap of getting distracted from one thing that I'm doing that really requires a lot of focus by something else that has come in because I've decided that it's super urgent and has to be done now when it could wait, and also could get done in like 5 minutes at another time. The next thing I'll be doing is actually waking up earlier. I somehow have all of my friends fooled, but I'm actually not a morning person. I don't know how I've managed to hoodwink everyone, but I'm not. Now, I can wake up early in the morning, but my brain cannot do any of the heavy lifting up until later in the day. My creativity comes alive at night. I have all of my ideas at night, and there was a point where I would essentially start filming at 9 PM and not finish till 3 in the morning because I was inspired at that time. But that's not necessarily good for me as someone who is working a 9 to 5. And whilst I don't have any of the creative inspiration at 5 or 6 in the morning, the time gained is still really useful. So I'll be using that time to get other things done. Like, for example, I'll be clearing my space or doing any of the household chores or the little tasks that I can get out of the way. And then a little later on in the day, when my brain has a little bit more going for it, I will then go ahead and plan out my day and have that done, but also know that all of the little bits that would take up time later on in the day are already accounted for and already done. And then it means that in the evening, when my brain is truly alive and functioning, then I can use it and use the brain power for the things that really matter to me, rather than having to also get through any of the little small tasks. The last thing I'll be doing is ensuring that I'm not focused on too many things. I tend to be very all or nothing. I either want to do none of the things or I want to try everything at once, and neither of those things are really good for me. When I try and do everything at once, no one thing gets enough of my time and attention. In doing the 12-week year, what I'll be doing is I'll be focusing on no more than 3 major goals at a time. They might have little micro goals in them, but I'll be focusing on those 3 core goals and making sure that my time is adequately divided between those 3 things. If I do find that I'm getting overwhelmed by those 3, I might drop the one that is least important to me and I can pick that up next quarter. When I'm done with those 3 goals, I'll then adjust my systems for the new goals that come in, but essentially it'll be a continuous cycle of setting those goals, meeting those goals, and then having new goals. The new goals might be upgrades to the old goals, or they might be completely different, but essentially just making sure that my mind is not spread too thin and my time is not spread too thin is going to be super important to making sure that I'm able to achieve the things that I want to achieve. Bonus 1. I'll also be reading Atomic Habits again. I'm going to reread Atomic Habits. I have read it once before, but at the time that I was reading it, again, I didn't have the self-belief and the idea that I can achieve the things I want. Now that I know that I'm capable of achieving those things, I think reading that book again will give me some really, really good tips and ideas on how to build better habits. It takes on average about 66 days, depending on the person, to really form a habit and make it essentially second nature. So I know this isn't an overnight thing, but I am looking forward to just being able to do more and learning a little bit more about myself in the process. I hope this has been useful. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your tips and tricks to get more stuff done in a day and to achieve your goals. What do you guys do? I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.